Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Brought to you by Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice. And by the 2013 Honda CR-V, an IIHS top safety pick. Honda is the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Welcome to Rogers Center. It is a packed house at Rogers Center. First two games, there has been a total of 86,000 people here at Rogers Center. This is another full house this afternoon to watch the series finale. Blue Jay fans are anxious for a win as the Yankees have won the first two of this series. Yankees have out-hit the Blue Jays in this series 24-14. Joe Girardi's ball club is getting a lot of support from the new guys in Yankee uniforms. Take a look at the lineup. Brett Gardner has always hit well in this ballpark. Robinson Cano in this series done a great job. He's 4 for 9 with a double and an RBI. He has always been tough on the Blue Jays. And then how about former Blue Jay Vernon Wells? He's hit 500 in this series with a pair of home runs. Wells is off to a great start. Swinging the bat so well, Joe Girardi has moved him into that third spot today to go up against Josh Johnson.
It's been a good lineup, surprisingly good lineup for the Yankees early in this season. That's the lineup that Josh Johnson takes to the mound and he will face, making his fourth start of the season, looking for his first win. He's got his ERA under 7 with a very good outing last time out versus Chicago White Sox. I thought he showed a little bit more power with his fastball, a little bit more power on his slider. Had a big strikeout game, had 8 strikeouts in that game. Let's look for him to do that again this afternoon. Pitch inside and use that fastball.
Blue Jays need a win. They split the 4 games against the White Sox the first series of this homestand, and they have lost the first 2 to New York. Give them a little momentum going on to the road. It'll be 3 in Baltimore and then 4 right back against the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. First pitch of the ball game is a sinker that's tapped toward first, and Gardner's going to have another hit. Just got underneath the glove of Josh Johnson. Gardner has loved hitting in this ballpark. Coming into this game, a .364 average at Rogers Center.
Yeah, and that's over 29 games here at Rogers Center with a lot of extra base hits. Nothing fancy here, just tops a ball. And once it gets by Josh Johnson, he was the only one who was able to make that play. If he comes up with it, Gardner's going to be out at first base. But once it gets by the big pitcher, Gardner with that outstanding speed will leg it out for the game's first hit.
That's the way the Yankees have gone in this series. They've hit the ball hard with extra base hits, and they've also had some timely hitting, like Gardner starting off with an infield single. Robinson Cano, the second baseman. Gardner doesn't have a steal yet this season. He's 0 for 2, but he's always a threat to run.
That is what Joe Girardi, the manager of the Yankees, thought his offense was going to be built around. A little bit more speed, where they're going to have to manufacture runs with all the injuries and the people off of last year's team that are signed with other organizations, but they haven't had to use the stolen base this year.
Gardner had a stretch of 22 straight successful steal attempts back in 2011. He's always been a guy that gets tremendous acceleration, and he's full speed after one stride. Joe Girardi in his 6th season as the Yankee skipper. Cano takes one outside. We always talk about the distraction when you got great hitters at the plate like Cano. You hate to have the pitcher's attention split between first base and home plate.
Well, right now I'd be paying attention to that guy at the plate because he can do some damage. You see the average and the production already. 13 RBIs already this year, 5 home runs for Cano.
2-0, and those numbers you talked about, those came in the last 10 games. He's 18 for 43, a .419 average over his last 10 games.
Home run wise for Cano this year, he's already a month ahead of his pace that he set last year when he hit 33. He didn't hit his 5th till the end of May last year.
48 doubles to go along with those 33 home runs a year ago. 2-0. Gardner at first. Not running. There's a strike. Tim Timmons is behind the plate today. Blue Jay fans are all fired up at the start of this game. Now they seem a little bit apprehensive with Gardner at first and nobody out. It's only the first inning, folks.
Yeah, after one pitch, too. Guy on first base.
Here's the 2-1 to Cano. On the ground. Astures has to wait for it. They'll get the lead runner. And almost got Cano. Boy, Kawasaki did a good job. I didn't think they could make it close at first, but Cano didn't get out of the batter's box because he broke his bat.
It had to recoil. Watch it one more time. He jams him with a fastball inside, and you see Astures wait for that ball. That allows the runner to get right on Kawasaki. He's right on top of him at second base, but he just shuffles out of the way and makes a strong throw. But Cano beats it.
Good job by Kawasaki avoiding the impact of that slide from Gardner. So one out, Vernon Wells. We mentioned his big series. He's 5 for 10 in the first 2 games of this series. Goes after the first pitch. Rasmus looked like he didn't pick it up immediately off the bat, but it's an easy play for him in center field. 2 down. Take a look at the outfield defense. Melky Cabrera, Kobe Rasmus, Jose Bautista back and right. That's a good thing for the Blue Jays. Lori Kawasaki, Astures, and Encarnacion third to first. Napier and Sebia and Josh Johnson teaming up for the battery this afternoon.
Yeah, and we'll watch Jose Bautista. You're right. That's a good sign having him out there. His leadership, his arm in the outfield, his take charge in right field. You can see him always in the game. Right now motioning to Kobe Rasmus to move over with Hafner at the plate. He's such an intelligent player.
Boy, he sure is. Every aspect of the game he understands, and he's anxious to share it with his teammates. 2 outs, Travis Hafner. Hafner is one of 6 Yankees playing with New York for the first time in their career, and boy, have they done a good job. The 6 have combined to hit .289 with 15 home runs and 36 RBIs.
Where was it all going to come from? That's what everybody was asking after the injuries and the departures of the players from last season. Well, Yankees have done a good job of bringing some veterans in here.
Ball on the strike. With Hafner at the plate, excuse me, Pat, they're putting that big shift on again.
Yeah, Brett Laurie out in right field, way out there. You ask people who cover this team day in and day out, and you ask them, did they expect this type of production from some of the guys? And they said no. They didn't think they would see Vernon Wells sitting on 3 weeks into the season with 5 home runs. Travis Hafner with 5 home runs. They didn't see that. But they'll take it.
Well, Hafner dealt with injuries a year ago. He had knee surgery, played just 66 games for the Indians. So Josh Johnson just a strike away from getting out of the first inning. Gave up a infield hit to Brett Gardner on the first pitch of the game. And he goes around. He does it. What a job by Josh Johnson. He didn't allow that infield hit to rattle him. It took him just 10 pitches, and he sets down the Yankees. Good pitch gets Travis Hafner that fastball up and away. Kawasaki at the top of the order, trying to get somebody on base to spark the offense. Let's take a look at that lineup. There's Kawasaki at short, leading off. Melky Cabrera against his former teammate Ivan Nova has gone 3 for 5. That's a 600 average, couple of homers and 3 RBIs. Jose Bautista in the cleanup spot. Edwin Encarnacion also has hit Nova hard. 6 for 16, a 400 average, 6 for 15, a 400 average, and 4 RBIs. So there's a couple of guys in this lineup that have hit well against Nova.
Just 26 years old, Ivan Nova, making his 3rd start of the season. He's faced Toronto in the past. They know all about him. He's having trouble right now getting his two-seam fastball over.
First pitch is a strike on the outside. Kawasaki leading off for the first time in his big league career. I don't expect him to do anything different.
Yeah, stay right with what you have been doing that's been successful for you. Infield has to shorten up because he'll slap the ball around. He'll bunt if he has to. See a lot of pitches. I think that's the one thing that John Gibbons wants to see from his leadoff hitter since Reyes went down. See a lot of pitches as you see the infield shortening up with Kawasaki. Make that pitcher work early on and grind it out.
Just missed the ball down the left field line. Just sliced foul.
He has made a habit of that right there. When pitchers have tried to crowd him with fastballs, he has waited a long time and dragged that barrel through the zone and hit the ball to left field. Everybody now is shifting over with 2 strikes.
Breaking ball. He checked his swing. No swing, says Laz Diaz down at 3rd base. Breaking ball bounced in the dirt.
Well, there you go. This will be at least a 6-pitch at bat right here for Kawasaki, and he held up on that curveball.
He's averaged over 5 pitches per at bat this year with the Jays. Tapper out in front of home plate. Kawasaki did just exactly what Brett Gardner did. A swinging bunt to start the game for the Jays.
Very soft around home plate here at the beginning of the game. They really watered it down. And you're right, tops this ball and splashes on that wet dirt in front of home plate and goes nowhere. Look at that. Just get it out in front. No chance to get Kawasaki at first base.
Yankees couldn't do a thing after the Gardner infield hit. Let's see if the Blue Jays can't make something happen. Melky Cabrera, a good day yesterday at the plate, was swinging the bat well all afternoon. Cabrera tied it up in the bottom of the 8th with a 2-out, 2-run single. 2 of his 3 hits against Nova have left the yard.
That's a good sign. When he's hitting the ball into the gaps for extra bases, we saw his first double of the season in this series. Gap to gap.
Taking all the way. It's 2-0. Nova's had his problems after starting out his big league career on a real roll. In his first 48 starts, he went 26-6. You can see his numbers in 7 games against the Jays. He lost last September right here at Rogers Center. Cabrera taps one off his foot. But we mentioned the turnaround for Nova. In his last 16 starts, he's gone 4-7 with an ERA over 5.5.
Gotten around the league a little bit now, and the hitters are starting to understand him. He's had problems getting that curveball over for strikes. Got the curve in his slider. He's got a big fastball. He's 6'4", 225 pounds. It throws 95 miles an hour.
Kawasaki dives back in ahead of the throw from Nova.
Kawasaki has a big lead over there at first base, but it's not really a threat to steal. I wouldn't say that he is a guy with elite speed that can steal you a base, but that is a huge lead at first.
Not going. Cabrera fouls it off.
We were just talking, Buck, about the numbers for Ivan Nova since the All-Star break. In 13 starts since last July, not very good. ERA soaring at almost 7. opponent's batting average over 300. He just has to make better quality pitches. There's nothing wrong with his stuff.
There goes Kawasaki. It's ripped into center. He steps on second. He's headed for third. Melky Cabrera delivers a single up the middle. Kawasaki was on the move. He goes first to third, and the Blue Jays have something cooking here in the first.
Picked on a very good pitch, number 1. 2-2. Nova decides to throw that breaking ball. So Kawasaki decides to go, which was a good idea. And then Melky Cabrera right back through the middle. As the Blue Jays play first and third against Nova. That's exactly what John Gibbons was looking for in the first inning. Get those first 2 guys on, put some pressure on Nova.
And the pressure is in the batter's box. Jose Bautista. Breaking ball misses.
I don't necessarily want my number 3 hitter and probably my best power hitter thinking about it, but look at that right side of the infield. You inside out a pitch right there, ground one to second base, you got an RBI.
I think that's exactly what Joe Girardi would prefer. Bautista trying to feather one through the right side.
Try to change things. I know. But it's just so easy. It looks so easy.
Well, it looks so inviting, and that's the point. Yankees are trying to invite Bautista. Hey, why don't you shoot one to right? He's thinking about hitting one in the third deck.
He's done that in the past, Jose, and I think it's really messed up his swing.
He's got a good pitch to hit there. High breaking ball. Nova doesn't have that bite on his curveball that we saw when he first came into the big leagues.
Yeah, it was a little bit sharper. He had a little bit better command with it. He might have to use his fastball a little bit more.
Right on the outside corner.
There it is right there. That's a quality pitch right there. 2-1 with a good fastball, 95. And a nice downward trajectory on it also.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Runners at the corners. Breaking ball, strike 3. Bautista didn't like the call. And Tim Timmons didn't waste any time taking his mask off and coming right back at Jose. So Bautista caught looking at a big Nova curveball.
Yeah, he's got a good curveball. Jose looks to see where it's caught, and then that right there is what upset the umpire, the raising of the hands. It's where it crosses the plate right there, and Timmons immediately says that's a strike. And Jose says no, that ball was down.
Edwin Encarnacion takes one inside. This is where Encarnacion is going to have to pick up Bautista. Great opportunity for the Jays here in the first.
How about doing it on bobblehead day, your own bobblehead day?
Wow, he tried to check his swing, lost the grip on the bat. You're right, it is Edwin Encarnacion bobblehead day, and 20,000 fans received that bobblehead. And they would love to have him nod in satisfaction after taking one out of here.
I was talking to him around the batting cage today, and I said, you got to get a couple of hits, a couple of líneas, which means line drives on bobblehead day. He says, just not at somebody. He has been making a habit on this road trip of lining out to the opposition.
The old Atom balls. Hopefully they won't make him change his stroke. He's pretty good right now. Ball on the strike. Off the end of the bat. Cano will flip to Nunez, who goes to first and throws it into the seats. Only Kawasaki comes across to score. The Blue Jays have a 1-0 lead.
You know, Buck, there's one instance right there where the exaggerated shift is going to backfire on the defense. Cano, the second baseman, was shifted over, and I don't think he had a chance to get over there and turn it. But because Nunez has such a long way to go, the footwork was messed up around second base. Ball's flipped to him by Cano. Look where he catches it. Watch his footwork. He actually touched it with his opposite foot, threw off the wrong foot, and that allowed him to throw it away. If they play straight up, Cano takes that ball, they turn it.
Edwin picks up the RBI. 2 down now. Adam Lind back in the lineup. Lind's first start since Tuesday against the White Sox. Encarnacion in scoring position. He went to second on the air, charged to the shortstop Nunez. Encarnacion gets an RBI. He's got 8 on the season, and he's in scoring position.
Can't assume the double play. As that run was scored, it looked like everyone was going to beat it out, even if it was a good throw.
Ball in the dirt. Stewart does a good job of keeping it in front of him.
But that's an instance where, okay, do I play the position and the percentages that Encarnacion's going to pull one to the left side, and the shortstop was way away from second base. He crossed him up with the ball up the middle, and Nunez just couldn't get to the bag.
Outside, it's 3-1. JP Arancibia is on deck. Nova had a long inning. Arancibia with 6 homers, anxious to bat here in the first. Lind had a good rip and fouls it straight back to the screen.
A little surprised that he was going to give him anything to hit. With first base open, Adams got a home run in his career against Nova.
Yeah, he gave him a pretty good pitch to hit.
Yeah, 3-1. You got a right-hander on deck. I know it's the first inning, but heck, you got a pitch around trouble.
Full count, 2 outs. He walks him. Remember, the breaking ball left it up out of the zone, so Arancibia will come to the plate with 2 outs. Let's check out the Yankee defense. Vernon Wells with 3 Gold Gloves is in left field. Brett Gardner's got terrific speed in center. Ichiro, he's got 10 Gold Gloves to his name. Nix is back at third. Nunez is the shortstop. Cano, a 2-time Gold Glover, and a great glove at first, Lyle Overbay. It's Stewart pitching for the 5th time this afternoon, and he's handling Ivan Nova.
The infield hasn't beaten themselves that much this year by the Yankees. Nunez has played a good shortstop. That was just his second error this season. That was a tough play for the young shortstop, but the Yankees see a lot of improvement from Edgardo Nunez at shortstop. He was erratic last year, fielding and throwing, but now they have him at one position instead of having him all over the place. They had him at third, second, left field. They have him at shortstop now, and he's done quite well.
JP Arancibia has the count in his favor. 1 ball, no strikes. Well, Blue Jays need a big inning. They need to give their starter some cushion. Josh Johnson did a good job. He gave up an infield hit and then left Gardner at first base.
They have to come up with that big hit. A hit that scores multiple runs. JP was thinking about it right there. 2-0. He was thinking about putting 3 more on the board. Especially when you've got a guy down right now.
Yeah.
And Nova's down. He is approaching 30 pitches this inning. Struggling to get his ball in the strike zone.
That fastball up and in, and Arancibia swings through it. 96 with the heater. That's the best fastball he's thrown all afternoon. Yeah, you're right. Starting pitchers, it's not uncommon for them to struggle in the first, and you really have to take advantage of it. This next pitch will be his 30th.
Yeah.
Arancibia fouls off the breaking ball.
Before they settle in, you always say, hey, don't help him out. When you can tell that he is struggling to get that ball in that strike zone, don't help him out.
Two outs. Arancibia stays alive. Blue Jays have only scored multiple runs in 3 innings this year.
That has been what's been lacking offensively. Timely hitting. They've got the home runs. We've seen that. We've seen the extra base hits this year. from the Blue Jays. But the timely hitting, that hit that scores multiple runs.
And Civale strikes out. 1 run in the first, not exactly what they'd hoped for, but they'll take it. They've given Josh Johnson a 1-0 lead on Edwin Encarnacion bobblehead day. He drives in the run.
Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Brought to you by the 2013 Honda CR-V, an IIHS top safety pick. Honda is the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Good crowd on hand at Rogers Center. This is the final game of the homestand. Johnson starts out Overbay with a good breaking ball. Josh Johnson struck out Travis Hafner to end the inning. Johnson gave up a leadoff single to Brett Gardner that left him stranded as he struck out Hafner to end the first.
It's a good inning for him. They got him a run in the first inning. Could have been more. Now his job is to just pound that strike zone and get his team back in that dugout as quickly as possible.
Ground ball, base hit through the hole at second, up the middle. Bautista comes over, and Overbay's had a good series. Joe Girardi down to talk to Robinson Cano. Cano came out of the batter's box a little slow on the fielder's choice. You wonder if he's got some sort of physical issue. But Girardi came all the way down to the end of the bench to talk to his second baseman.
He definitely had a message he wanted to convey to Cano. He did all the talking right there.
So Overbay's aboard. First up, Eduardo Nunez. Nunez hit 8th yesterday. He was 0 for 4 with a sacrifice bunt. He was the guy that bunted that ball in the 11th inning. He moved the runners up after Luke had made the error that led to 2 runs in the inning. They tried another sacrifice and moved Suzuki over to third. But then Delavar came in to strike out the next 2 batters, but it was a little too late.
A little bit too late. This guy's got some talent. They like his bat.
Bunts this one. Johnson gets off the mound. Barehands it. Nice play. Josh Johnson's a big guy, and he moved very quickly to the third base side of the mound. Nunez moves Overbay to second base on the sacrifice.
It'll probably go as a sacrifice bunt, but he was bunting for a base hit. If he gets that ball a couple of more feet towards the line as he checks and sees Brett Lawrie playing back on him, He's got enough speed that he can beat that out, but you can see Josh Johnson's on top of it quickly, picks it up with his bare hand and records the out.
I would give him a sacrifice no matter what his mindset is, because he moves the runner over, and he might be more comfortable bunting for a base hit than squaring around. Ichiro Suzuki, he shows bunt, takes a strike.
That's when you're the third baseman. You say, okay, guys, you're picking on me now, huh? Just come right in and just take it away from him. I think that was more of Suzuki trying to get Laurie in so he can try and hit the ball the other way. He is really good at doing that.
He is very good at doing that. He had a double down that third base line on Friday night. And you're right, because Laurie took a couple of steps in. That diminishes his range side to side.
Yeah, and remember, Brett's got to respect that runner at second base. He's got to keep an eye on him in case he tries to do something. Against a hard thrower, Suzuki likes to go the other way.
There's a little flare. Laurie giving chase, but even with his great speed, he's not able to run it down, but high enough to make a catch. So Suzuki's behind 1-2.
You know, if there were 2 strikes, I think he makes that catch, because he then moves back and he catches that ball with that good speed. He is about 10 feet back from where he was with 1 strike now. Where he is now with 2 strikes, and he could have caught that ball, I think.
Overbay at second. Well, Suzuki's tough to strike out. He got such a short swing that he doesn't commit too early, and he has the ability to use that wand and make great coverage no matter where the pitch is.
He can just wait so long. That's the secret to his success. He can just sit back there as long as possible, recognize if it's a strike at the last second, and just kind of flick the bat at the ball and hit it hard too.
Now Johnson strikes him out. Aaron Seavey did a good job as he held on to that ball. It looked like Ichiro foul tipped it. Another strikeout for Johnson. That's 2 on the afternoon.
That looked like it might have been the changeup. Look at the grip. Nope, curveball down and away, and he really fooled Suzuki.
Johnson's got to do something to give the hitters an off-speed pitch to think about, and that curveball served the purpose.
And he kept it away. Smart pitch right there.
2 down, over the base, still at second base. Jason Nix, the third baseman. First pitch swinging. He's late on the fastball. Kevin Youkilis opened up the series at third base, but he's been bothered by a back problem. He says as a result of playing on this hard surface at Rogers Center.
Came out of yesterday's game. Not in the lineup today.
And Ben Francisco talking about swinging down on that pitch. Francisco started in yesterday's game against the lefty Burley on the mound. Goes around. It's 0-2. Boy, Johnson looks like he's very focused this afternoon, and that's the way he was last time out on Tuesday.
Yeah, that was against the White Sox. He came in with his game face. Look at that. He was staring him down. He had a good fastball, and he used it on the inside part of the plate versus the right-handers, and picked up a lot of strikeouts with that breaking ball.
Now, Johnson's strikeout of Suzuki, just the 34th time in 472 at-bats that Ichiro has struck out against the Blue Jays. Always prone to put the ball in play. Nix pops it into center. Easy play for Rasmus. Another leadoff base hit. The Yankees can't do a thing with it. It'll be the bottom third in the order for the Blue Jays. Colby Rasmus will lead things off. Brett Laurie has a home run against Ivan Nova, and Meiser Asturias Munenori Kawasaki hit in the leadoff spot, comes around to score in the first. 7-8-9 for the Jays. Rasmus, Laurie, and Isturis. Rasmus with 4 home runs already. He's also hit 3 doubles. First time the Blue Jays have scored first in the Yankees series. Rasmus drills it down the right side. That's just trouble if it's fair, and it's up against the wall. Rasmus is headed for second with a leadoff double here in the second. His 4th double of the season.
Keep pounding away those extra base hits. They try to go up and they try to go in, and he muscles it off of them. Teams have been trying to pitch Colby Rasmus up, and this time he was waiting for it. Lifts it down the right field line for extra bases. Well, he's got such a pretty swing.
Brett Laurie steps in with his mom and dad sitting right in the first row. Russ and Cheryl here in Toronto. That's got to be tough for Russ. I know how tightly wrapped he is to watch this game. He's sitting right there.
Oh, man. There's nothing you can do about it when you're the dad watching one of your kids play sports. You want to go out there and help them.
Bouncing ball. Nunez was deep and short. Laurie can run. He's got no play. Brad Laurie gets an infield hit. That's 3 infield hits in the ball game already this afternoon. You know, Nunez couldn't do a thing about that.
An interesting defensive alignment by the Yankees with the runner at second base. That's the shortstop with the right-handed batter. Laurie at the plate right behind the runner. Huge hole on the left side. They know that Laurie's trying to push the ball the other way. It works out nicely for him as he tops it in front of home plate and gets himself a nice little infield hit.
Well, mom and dad got to be pleased. That's a good start to Laurie's day. First and third. Nobody out. Meiser Isturis, the second baseman. Tries to check his swing and does. Isturis has hit well against New York, and he is 4 for 8 against Nova.
One of those hits a home run against Nova.
On the ground, Nova looks at Rasmus, goes to second, and they get the lead runner. That was a pretty good play by Nova to stop Rasmus at third and then get the runner at second. And that keeps the double play in order.
Keeps it in order. And if he turns right away, maybe they get 2, but the run might score. Rasmus bounces off there, and he's going to go if that ball gets by him. And then he throws off his back foot. That was an interesting turn as he went around to second base, and he had to sling that all with his arm. And he was accurate with it, and they got that runner in the middle of the diamond.
Yeah, he was pretty much flat-footed when he threw that ball to second, made a strong throw. So they're 1 out. Isturis reached on the fielder's choice. Rasmus doubled. He's at third now. Back to the top of the order. Munenori Kawasaki. I mentioned Kawasaki always sees a lot of pitches during his at-bats. He had a little swinging bunt on a 3-2 pitch in his first at-bat.
Just keep doing what you're doing. Stay with your strengths. Think about hitting the ball the other way.
He's a smart hitter. He's a big league hitter. He's played in Japan for a number of years. He had a sac fly in his first at-bat with the Blue Jays in Kansas City.
Should get a pitch to hit right here. Nova has to challenge him here.
Drives it to left. Wells is over. Rasmus tags. Wells' throw will go to second, and Kawasaki delivers. 2-0 Jays.
Yeah, knows that Nova doesn't want to go to 3-0. So he's got to get himself a fastball. And he is pumped up after that sac fly.
Now John Gibbons trying to get a little spark, top of the order, and Kawasaki has scored a run and driven in a run. And everybody's getting into it.
Says he wanted to get some energy at the top of the lineup. Well, he found the right guy.
Melky Cabrera. They've been swinging a hot bat of late. He had 2 hits in yesterday's game and hit the ball hard 4 times. Breaking ball just on the outside corner. This is the way it's been for Nova of late. You mentioned his last 16 starts. Things haven't gone well for him. And you wonder if he's not feeling the pressure over his shoulder. Chen-Ming Wong started yesterday in AAA Scranton Wilkes-Barre. Chen-Ming Wong pitched for the Yankees 2005 through 2009. And he had a good outing.
Yep. 5 1/3 scoreless in AAA.
0-2 to Cabrera. Cut on and miss. Nova strikes him out, but the Blue Jays add another run. Munenori Kawasaki has scored 1 and driven 1 in. A sacrifice fly makes it 2-0 Jays. The live audio follow games pitch by pitch and enjoy in-game video highlights. The app is available on the iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch, Android, and BlackBerry Z10. Season-long subscription packages are available for $19.99. Visit BlueJays.com for more details. At-Bat 13 is the official app of Major League Baseball. Josh Johnson and the Blue Jays have a 2-0 lead. Chris Stewart making his 5th start behind the plate for the Yankees. Both catchers are off to a good start. Combined, they're hitting over 300.
Yeah, some good numbers. And again, that was some surprise numbers, I think, for the Yankees. I think everybody expect them to not hit at the beginning of the season, and they are raking with all the home runs.
Boy, Johnson's in a good spot today. He's down in the zone. He's pounding that fastball, and he's thrown fastballs inside effectively.
Free and easy. And this is the Josh Johnson that we saw in spring training. Wow.
There's that inside pitch. That's bread and butter, folks. That will set up everything else on the outside. You put that inside strike in their heads, and then that outside is golden. Missed downstairs with the slider. Full count. Ripped to left field and deep. This ball is a homer. Chris Stewart on a 3-2 fastball gets his first home run of the season. And the Yankees have cut the Blue Jays lead in half. Number 9 hitter gets New York on the board.
You don't say that very often with Chris Stewart. He doesn't hit a lot of home runs. But it was right in the wheelhouse. This is his first extra base hit of the season, down and in, and you want to be quick in there. And he is. It's hooking. And just like yesterday with Vernon Wells, he hits the foul pole for a home run.
His 5th big league homer. And Johnson comes right back with strike 1. Stewart did a good job for New York last year. Played in 55 games. Backing up Russell Martin. J.P. Arencibia has been working hard on presenting that target in a much more presentable fashion, where he just really holds it for the pitcher to zero in on the middle of that glove.
Yeah, pitchers love that. You can see that. Give me that target. This is where you want that ball.
Brett Gardner gets jammed. He's going to get another hit. Brett Gardner might never want to leave Rogers Center. He has a infield hit, now a bloop hit. He's 2 for 2. Fans, it's time for our BlackBerry Sneak Peek Stat of the Game, brought to you by the new BlackBerry Z10, built to keep you moving.
You know, everybody was talking about Josh Johnson after that start in Detroit where it was 35 degrees. Where's his fastball? Well, it's 35 degrees. Tough to get loose, tough to get some location. He was only thrown 90 miles an hour, back to the normal 93 for Johnson in his last start against the White Sox. And he used it effectively. He used it inside and outside. He used it down. He used it up in the strike zone. More of that today from Johnson. It looks good. That's Josh Johnson right there. Use that fastball because he has a good one.
Robinson Cano reached on a fielder's choice his first time up. Jumps all over that first pitch and rips it into the seats. But again, another pitch inside, and Johnson gets a strike.
Yeah, strike 1. I don't think you can fall into patterns with Robinson Cano. I think he's a smart hitter who can handle a little bit of everything. Blue Jays have had success in the past by throwing a fastball to him.
Gardner looks anxious at first. He got an infield hit in his first at bat, but was forced at second, never showing any signs of wanting to steal. Inching out onto that artificial surface. Time had been called. That was awfully late, but Tim Timmons granted Cano time. And Johnson was just about to deliver the pitch. Oftentimes umpires won't give a hitter time.
Yeah. They'll go off the pitcher. That's a throw over sign. Not necessarily trying to pick him off over there at first base, but you're trying to get a gauge that, you know, maybe he flinches before he goes back, that he might tip off that he is trying to steal or have something on.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily for Johnson to see that or Encarnacion to pick it up. The bench coaches, guys on the bench, will watch Gardner, and then if they see something that looks suspicious, they'll have him throw over there again.
A lot of teams will use that step-off move very effectively, where the pitcher takes off and disengages from the rubber.
Cano is behind 0-2. Blue Jays up 2-1. Chris Stewart started inning off with his first home run of the season. 0-2 to Cano. Cut on and missed. Good fastball upstairs. One out. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Homer Bailey on the mound for Cincinnati. Joey Votto with that home run is average at .317. Nothing like a first inning home run to get your day started.
And it had been a while since he hit his first home run this year. He had to go all the way back to June. But now he's in a nice little homer spot.
Third home run of the season this afternoon. Vernon Wells got pushed back with that inside fastball. Wells hitting the 5th spot in the first 2 games of this series. Joe Girardi liked what he saw and pushed him up into that 3rd hole. Of course, the Yankees, without A-Rod, Jeter, Granderson, and Teixeira, they got to do some juggling.
See, managers a lot of times they'll look at their lineup and they'll say, okay, who's hot?
Yeah.
Okay, and let's bunch them together. Let's get them up to the top of the lineup. We'll have more chances to get ABs. Vernon's had a good series. Kept it up yesterday against Mark Burley.
Girardi really keeping a close eye on Johnson. There goes Gardner. He got a good jump here, and Sebia from his knees, not nearly in time. Wells swung through the pitch. Aaron Sebia made a strong throw, but Gardner had a good jump at first.
You know, that's why they have that stopwatch over there. They'll time the pitcher how long when he starts his move towards home, how long it takes for the pitcher to get the ball to the catcher's glove. 1.2. Pretty good right there, but Gardner with that great speed beats it out. He's had seasons of 47 and 49 stolen bases. It's only a matter of time before he started getting them.
That's his first of the season. 2 balls and a strike to Vernon Wells.
You know, they've got that stopwatch again in that dugout. And there's no, if the number is what they think it is, he might try and steal third base too.
Yeah, Mick Kelleher, the first base coach, he too has a stopwatch, and they'll all keep an eye on Johnson. If his unload time becomes too high, over 1.5, up to 1.6, they'll turn the runner loose. Tony Pena and Joe Girardi, both catchers in their playing days, and they got a good read on Johnson. And there are certain numbers where you must run. Gets up to 1.7. Wells drives it to center. Rasmus has it. Gardner's going back to second. The tag. Here's the throw over to third. Not in time. Gardner moves up. 2 down. Fans, if you want your baseball questions answered by a team of experts, email asktheexperts@sportsnet.ca and keep your eye out for the home hardware Ask the Expert segment later on in this ball game. Rob Thompson, the third base coach, going back over the situation for Gardner. 2 outs. Travis Hafner at the plate. Yankees have stranded 2 already in this ball game. Left a runner on in each of the first 2 innings. Travis Hafner struck out to end the first. Waves at that breaking ball. He was thinking fastball and got the hook.
Crossed him up just a little bit with that off-speed pitch.
Where would you like to see Johnson go after Hafner in this at-bat?
Probably stay inside on him. Just try and tie him up. He's got enough fastball for sure, so Hafner doesn't extend on him. Travis Hafner's been very good about going the other way throughout his career.
And they're staying right in his kitchen. Hafner had an opposite field home run on Friday night against Brandon Morrow.
You know, the defense is playing him to pull, and you've heard that old saying in baseball: pitch him inside, play him to pull. Same way right here. It wouldn't do him any good to go the other way with the pitch.
Another pitch inside, it missed off the plate, down and in. DeMarlo Hale is the bench coach for John Gibbons. They have worked together going all the way back to the Hawaiian Winter League when they coached together over in Hawaii. They've known each other for a long time. 3-1 to Hafner. He'll take a walk. So Johnson pounded Hafner inside the entire at bat and loses him with 2 outs. Lyle Overbay is a much better contact hitter, and Overbay's had a good series so far. He singled in his first at bat. So Pete Walker, the pitching coach, is out to the mound, have a little chat and give Johnson a little bit of a breather here, just to try to figure out how to get Overbay out. Overbay singled to center in his first at bat.
He's had some good at bats this whole series.
He came in defensively in the game yesterday, and got a double in his first at bat and lined out to the third baseman. He's been swinging the bat well all series.
I think you have to bunch him in the middle of the infield, and you've got to bunch him in the outfield also. He likes to use the middle of the diamond. That's exactly what the Blue Jays are doing. You see Brett Laurie at third base, way off the line.
Off speed pitch. He was cheating to the fastball and got fooled.
And that's all the pitching is right there. Just get in the head of that hitter and outthink him.
Another off speed pitch, another swing and a miss. Aaron Seavey, those signs are for the first and third defense if the runner at first breaks for second. I doubt they would throw to second with Gardner and his terrific speed at third.
Yeah, that's the guy that you got to worry about right there. There's also a play where you fake the second and throw at the third, but they can't do that with the lefty.
There goes the runner Hafner, and there's no throw. Aaron Seavey had to make sure he blocked the ball first, obviously with Gardner at third.
Yeah.
So Hafner gets a stolen base.
Especially when it got to 2 strikes. You can send that runner down to second base. If they happen to throw through, Gardner with his speed can walk home. The Blue Jays just elected to hold it.
Breaking ball pulled to second as Torres is there. Johnson pitches around trouble again. Josh Johnson gives off a leadoff home run, but strands 2 more Yankees and holds a 2-1 lead. Nominees, extraordinary military or community service, and personal accomplishments. One veteran or military service member will be selected to represent the Blue Jays at the 2013 All-Star Game in New York. The nomination period ends Friday, May 17th, so visit BlueJays.com for details. And today, the Blue Jays are saluting Corporal Don Doyle of Toronto. Congratulations and thank you very much, Don, for your great service. Corporal Doyle is honored here today at Rogers Center. We move to the bottom of the third. Jose Bautista taking all the way, takes his strike. The 2013 All-Star Game will be at Citi Field in New York, home of the Mets. And their high fastball. Bautista goes back up the middle and crosses up the Yankees defense. A two-strike single to Stenner. That starts the third.
You know, at 2 strikes, they might want to, instead of have 3 guys on one side of the infield, maybe move Cano behind second, maybe a little bit closer, because that ball would have been right at him.
Well, Nova should have had it.
Yeah, that's number 1.
It's right past his glove, and he knows it. He swiped at it and just missed it. Bautista with the base hit.
Right where Cano was playing now, it would have been a perfect spot. But it works out for Jose.
Blue Jays have had the leadoff man in all 3 innings. He is reached. High and deep to left field. Wells looking up at the wall and catches it. Bautista's all the way around second. Cano gets the ball from Wells, and Jose will be doubled up. Vernon Wells goes up and pulls one down off the top of the fence. Bautista went all the way around second, and Wells pulled it down and made a strong throw to Cano, who relayed to first for the double play.
You've got to play good defense, and the Yankees are playing some defense. This looked like it was going to leave the yard. But Vernon Wells with that gold glove goes back and then takes it off the wall. Here's Jose. You got to get around second. I think everybody in the ballpark felt that that ball was gone or off the wall. And Vernon Wells then turns it into a double play as he tips his cap to everybody out there. I'm sure they're giving him the raspberries.
Yeah, they've given him a tough time in all 3 of these games. He said thank you very much for the encouragement. So that leadoff single is erased with a fine defensive play by Vernon Wells. And walked in the first.
You know, there's no fault of anybody. As a runner at first base, you've got to get out there on an extra base hit and round the bag. I didn't think he had any chance at catching that baseball.
It didn't really come off the bat that well. It just carried a long way, and it had a chance to get out of here for sure.
He just got right back to that wall and timed his leap perfectly. Look where he is, right against that wall. Pulls it down and then finishes off the double play.
Wells won 3 gold gloves playing center field here at Rogers Center. Now Lynn will take a walk. His second walk of the afternoon. Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach, is out, and Nova's throwing a lot of pitches.
Yeah, he's got a message to him. He's like, hey, you're not going to be around this game very long unless you pound that strike zone. You better use your fastball a little bit more. You can see Larry's got a definite message that he wants to convey to his young starter.
And Nova appeared to hear the message, nodded his head, and Rothschild headed back to the dugout. Nova's 26 years old. He's got good stuff. But as we mentioned, the league's kind of adjusted to him, and he hasn't countered that adjustment. Aaron Seavey goes after the first pitch. It's popped up a mile high. Overbank coming down from first. Calls for it, and that'll end the inning. The Blue Jays get a leadoff single, but then Vernon Wells made a Gold Glove play in support of Ivan Nova. We'll go to the fourth. Jays have a 1-run lead. On Sportsnet, live on your smartphone. Visit RogersAnyplaceTV.com/sports to get started. And that fan's got an up-close look at what's going on here at Rogers Center. Blue Jays have a 2-1 lead, trying to avoid the sweep at the hands of the New York Yankees. Eduardo Nunez, the shortstop, will lead things off for New York. Josh Johnson has been dialed in, bottom of the zone especially. He's really worn out both sides of the plate.
That's the Josh Johnson that we saw in spring training. Just fill up that strike zone with the fastball and the slider.
I think, too, he's had good speed differential here using the curveball. That last curveball was 77 miles an hour. There's a little looper into right. Bautista now comes in a couple of steps and makes the catch. Anytime you get 15 to 18 miles an hour difference between your slow breaking ball and your fastball, that gives a wide area of coverage for the hitter to think about.
Timing. It really disrupts your timing at the plate as a hitter. When you've got one pitch, you know, even if you throw a BP fastball just to take something off your normal fastball from 94 miles an hour down to 84, 85 miles an hour, it just gives something else for the hitter to think about and try to get you out going forward.
Ichiro Suzuki struck out in his last at bat. To give you an idea how rare that strikeout was of Suzuki against the Blue Jays, with a minimum of 450 at bats, Jim Gantner is the toughest for the Blue Jays to strike out. He struck out 29 times. Ichiro, that was his 34th strikeout. And his list is impressive. Tough guys to strike out. Don Mattingly had 40 strikeouts in his career against the Jays. And George Brett had 47.
And it's not a small sample, too, right?
Over 450 at bats. Yeah. And swings like that prevent Ichiro from striking out.
Keeping at bats going. Watch this. Curveball. This is the pitch that got him last time on the strikeout, and he just barely able to make contact.
But just enough to stay alive. 1-2.
You know, the best I ever saw about that was Rod Carew. I mean, he could take it out of the catcher's glove and go poof. Foul ball.
He looked like a guy standing in front of a hockey net. If it's going to go into the catcher's glove, I'm tipping it. And he was great at it, man.
Yep.
That's a good call.
Keep those at-bats alive.
Ichiro hits it to Encarnacion. He'll go to the back. 2 down. Edwin's done a little of everything on Edwin Encarnacion bobblehead day. He drove in the first run of the ball game to put the Jays up 1-0, and it was a good play right there. Ichiro hit that ball hard.
Yeah, and just missed a home run last inning. He's looked good over at first base. I think he's more confident. His hands are a lot softer. I think he understands the angles, and the bobblehead is saying, yeah, that's a good play. Yes.
There are 20,000 bobbleheads here today.
Nodding in agreement.
There'll be 2 other bobbleheads given away later on in the season, so make sure you check out the schedule. That's a good-looking bobblehead, though. Got the nice stance and a little beard working. Jason Nix is behind 0-2. This is the Josh Johnson the Blue Jays thought they were getting when they made the trade. He looks like he is in control. He's got a 2-1 lead.
Nice delivery. He's 6'7", and he really gathers himself over the mound nicely.
Boy, he threw that one right where he wanted it. He elevated the fastball with 2 strikes and strikes out Jason Nix. Johnson's in a groove. He's got everything working, and he blows this fastball right by Nix. Yankees retired in order in the 4th. Part of the Sportsnet charity broadcast auction. Make a donation of $50 or more to the Jays Care Foundation before April 24th, and you will automatically be entered. You could win the ultimate Blue Jays experience, an opportunity to throw out the ceremonial first pitch before a Blue Jays game, a batting practice visit, and a meet and greet with John Gibbons, the skipper. For more information, visit bluejays.com/broadcast auction. Good crowd on hand here at Rogers Center. It'll be the 3rd straight crowd, over 40,000 watching the Blue Jays and Yanks. Colby Rasmus doubled and scored into second. His 8th extra base hit of the season.
Something that the Blue Jays have done quite nicely. Thank you very much. They're getting the extra base hits. They're just not getting them in a timely fashion. These guys on base.
Good breaking ball there. That hard curve ball started in zone, broke down underneath the bat, Rasmus.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with Ivan Nova's stuff. It's just where he's thrown it. Now, he's not wild where he's walking everybody. He's only had 4 walks this year in a couple of starts. Just made too many mistakes.
Another curveball and check swing by Rasmus. Well, that's what happens too. Everybody knows what you're throwing, and they respect that curveball. And if it's not a perfect curve, they'll hit it.
You know, when you watch his stuff too, you know, it really plays. Curveball and his fastball, and a little bit of a changeup. 87 extra base hits he gave up last year, and that's the problem. That just tells me that he's just not hitting his spots where he should.
That time he hit Rasmus with a breaking ball. So Kobe's aboard, and Blue Jays have had the leadoff man aboard in each of their 4 innings. They've been able to manage just 2 runs. They need to capitalize on getting that leadoff man on.
Curveball, holds on to it, looking for the punch out, and when a guy holds on to it a little bit too long, he'll pull it all the way across the strike zone.
Brett Lawrie will bat with Rasmus at first base. Lawrie had an infield single to the shortstop in the 2nd inning. Bounce to Nix. 2nd for 1. Cano quickly to first in time. Robinson Cano barely had a hold of that ball. It hit his glove and it was on its way to first, and he really turned it. Got a good feed from Jason Nix.
Yeah, it looks like he was ricocheting the ball around the infield. He'll tell those guys, just throw the ball over the bag, I'll get there. He avoids Rasmus by catching the ball and with very quick feet and a strong arm finishing off a tough double play.
You don't see too many second basemen continue to run without planting and firing, and he threw that ball on the run with a lot on it.
And accurately.
Right on the money.
How about that?
Masturis didn't like that call. And Tim Timmons is hearing it from the Blue Jays dugout. So it's 1-2. Both of those pitches were borderline to Masturis. He didn't like either one of them. And now he's got a battle. He's behind 1-2. Full count. So it went from 0-2 to 3-2.
Yeah, trying to get that curveball over. He spins a good curveball, but he just can't command it like he should. Now Izzy can look for that fastball.
It was up and away, and he knew it. He tried to check his swing, but goes around too far. The Blue Jays are done in the 4th. They have a 2-1 lead. Now it's time for a Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Blackberry Broadcast Studio. hockey, courtesy of TD. Over in the Jays Care Community Clubhouse, it's a group from the Starlight Foundation. Welcome to Rogers Center, and you got a heck of a ball game going on right now, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Chris Stewart, responsible for the Yankee run, hit his first home run of the season, leading off the third.
Was that C.J. Spiller in the
up there in the
clubhouse up
community
there?
Clubhouse. Good for him. The Buffalo Bills having a good day here at Rogers Center.
Tim Talman had him on the pregame show, talking to Barry. Good for him.
Said he grew up watching the Yankees and admiring Jerry Jeter, but now that he's in Buffalo, he's become a Blue Jay fan. Chris Stewart's having a good day. 2 for 2 to start his afternoon. Another leadoff man aboard. Pitcher hasn't retired, a leadoff hitter in this game.
That's on both sides you're talking about. Well, Stewart has got himself in fastball counts, and he's delivered. First a home run, and now this one off the end of the bat. 2-0 fastball. And they've got something started once again.
Actually, Johnson got Nunez last inning, part of a 1-2-3 fourth inning, so only one leadoff man in the ball game has been retired. Brett Gardner has a couple of hits.
We have been talking about Brett Gardner, how hot he is, and the numbers that he has put up in this building. This guy seems like he's hitting every other inning. He had 6 at-bats yesterday, 5 the day before. This is his third one already. What were we saying about bunching your hot hitters at the top of the lineup?
Put them at the top of the order to make sure they get up a lot. Gardner pops this one up. Melky Cabrera comes in a few steps and makes the catch. Which is fine to get Gardner out. Josh Johnson, in my mind, is a workhorse. He can stay healthy. He's one of those guys that'll go out there and pitch 7, 8, 9 innings every start. We started to see that last time out against the White Sox on Tuesday when he pitched 7 innings, 4 hit ball.
Well, you just look at him. You look at his build, and he can be intimidating. He's a big person. And when you're on that mound and standing in that batter's box looking out on a guy up on that mound, that can be intimidating. Especially when he pitches aggressively and he comes right after you. And when he uses that fastball.
Robinson Cano. Johnson's had him baffled early on in this game.
He's done a good job against the lefties, the left-handed hitters of the New York Yankees, throwing that backdoor curveball. They are geared up for the number 1, and he drops that little off-speed pitch outside. Got to keep changing up, I think, against Robinson Cano. Can't pitch him the same way every single time.
Another breaking ball. He threw that breaking ball inside after using the breaking ball to the outside.
They got Cano last time with a fastball that was up.
Yeah, the one thing you don't want to do is flirt with danger upstairs. He's a great low ball hitter, but he can also get on top of that fastball and hit it out of the ballpark.
And there's extra bases in that bat.
2 balls and a strike. Blue Jays have a 2-1 lead. That's a good sign right there. Now, we always talk about pitchers reading the hitter's bat. That to me tells me Cano's looking breaking ball. That's because he was so late on that fastball. So you might want to stay with the fastball. He struck out on the fastball his last time.
Yeah, about the same spot, maybe just a little bit higher. You see JPR and CB saying, okay, let's think this one through here. He's calling for a fastball. Looks like inside.
Slides to the inside. There's the fastball, and Cano rips it into center. He didn't get it inside. He left it out over the plate, and Robbie Cano drilled it to center.
The 2013 Honda CR-V, an IIHS top safety pick. Honda is the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
We told you about the high fastball that got him. They had thought about throwing fastball inside, and watch where this one is. Just leaks out over the middle of the plate. It wasn't in, and it wasn't up to Cano, and he can handle that one.
Yeah, with 2 strikes, that ball worked right out to the sweet spot in his bat.
Yeah, think about that. That two-seam fastball, it goes from the handle of the bat right out to the barrel of the bat, right where a lefty likes it.
Brennan Wells has flied out to center twice. Pivotal hitter for Josh Johnson. Missed with the fastball down and away. We mentioned Wells has homered twice in this series. Both have gone to left field. Hit a 3-2 changeup off of Mark Burley yesterday in the 2nd inning.
He's done a good job of plate coverage when they've tried to throw the ball away to him. He has taken it to right field. In the past, we've seen him try and yank that ball.
Good spot. Wells was guessing fastball and got a slider.
Turner, you can see him open up those hips and look for something where he could turn on it and try and drive it out of the ballpark.
And Johnson has tied him up in his first 2 at-bats with fastballs inside. And Wells was trying to anticipate something on the inner half. Staying away in this hit path. See if Johnson has the right approach. It looks to me like Wells is looking for the inner half. Yeah. He's opening up that front shoulder.
Yeah, he's looking to try and do some damage.
Runners at first and second. On the ground through the middle. Chris Stewart around third. He's getting the stop sign. Erasmus comes up throwing. That ball skipped past Encarnacion. Same type of throw cost Erasmus an error here on Friday.
He's got some tail on his ball. The first pitch, fastball away, and Vernon Wells takes it right back through the middle. I told you he's been staying on that ball a little bit better in this series. Colby charges it, and as a left-handed thrower, ball can tail on him. That time a little bit off target, up the line, smothered by Aaron Sebia that time.
Well, that sets the table for Travis Hafner. Bases loaded, 1 out. Hafner has hit 12 grand slams. All 12 of those coming as a member of the Indians. That's just 1 shy of Manny Ramirez for the franchise lead. He was thinking about number 13. He hit a grand slam off of Luis Perez in July of 2011, a walk-off grand slam in Cleveland.
Yeah, I remember that one. Hanging pitch. Yanked it to right field. He was thinking about the same thing right there. He really stays within himself a lot. You can see he's choked up just a little bit with Josh Johnson on the mound, trying to get these runs in.
Johnson is set.
He thinks the other way.
Popped up. Aaron Sebia flips the match off. He's camped under it. That's a huge pitch by Johnson. Two down. So the runners hold their ground. Now Lyle Overbay. He's a tough guy in this situation. He makes a lot of contact.
Yep. Yeah, he is tough to strike out. He uses the whole field. And he has really fallen in love with Kevin Long and his drills that they do every day. He's got excellent power the other way. So if they try to pitch him away, we've already seen him go that way.
Well, he got beat on that pitch. That fastball up and in about a letter high really tied him up. Aaron Sebe out to talk Johnson after that first pitch.
I think Lyle likes the ball away from him, where he can do something with it. He can try to hit it the other way or try to get it airborne. Not a bad idea to try to stay in on him early. He's got that inside out type of swing.
Stayed in and missed the inside corner. The Yankees have been shut down in these situations by Johnson. They're just 1 for 6 so far with runners in scoring position. They've left 4 on base. Johnson's been up to the challenge. Another pitch right in the kitchen of Overbay, and he fights it off.
Yeah, he likes to get that bat head out and go with that pitch, and I think they've done a good job of staying inside on him.
Now the crowd's getting into it.
The lefty at the plate. The backdoor curveball's been good for him this afternoon.
Bounce that breaking ball. Everything to the inside to Overbay. I would hate to see him throw anything away right now. That's right in his bread and butter, especially with 2 strikes.
Where he's going to wait just a little bit longer and really closes off the right side of the field with 2 strikes. Seen him hit many times here with the Blue Jays, and he's thinking left center field right now.
Aaron Sebe is going to talk it over with Johnson.
Yeah, they shook off a couple of signs, and they got to make sure that they both have the plan. Josh Johnson knows what he wants to do here with 2 strikes. He's telling JP what he wants to do.
Yeah, he was the one that took the extra step down the mound and said, here's what I want to do. And it looks like Johnson has a clear plan of how he wants to finish this at bat. Two balls, 2 strikes, bases are loaded. Blue Jays have a 2-1 lead. Remember the breaking ball, and Overbay laid off.
Boy, that's a good job by Aaron Sebe also to slide his feet over there. He had gone to the outside part of the plate and had to slide to the inside to keep that ball in front of him.
Chris Stewart started off with a single. He's at third. Cano singled to center. He's at second, and Vernon Wells, he too had a single to center. Bases loaded. They'll be off on the pitch with 2 outs. Breaking ball and missed the outside corner. Overbay will get the RBI, and we are tied at 2.
It's been a good pitch for him to the lefties this afternoon, as Pete Walker is going to come out and give him a little bit of a blow right here. He's throwing a lot of pitches.
Well, I think too, and Walker's aware that there can be a letdown by the pitcher in a situation like that. You walk in the tying run, just out to, hey, Josh, get him out right here and we'll get you the lead back. Just a little encouragement, reinforcement.
I think Josh not real happy with the results of that one. Now, this pitch is a dangerous pitch, I think, for Nunez. He has struggled a little bit with his command. He's given up 3 hits and a walk in this inning. He just got the pitching coach to come out and talk to him. Nunez is going to be ready to swing.
He was ready to swing and checked his swing. Mike Winters down at first base at no swing.
And he threw him a breaking ball, and he almost...
Yeah, he was hard charging that fastball after the walk to Overbank. Two and out. Ichiro Suzuki on deck.
Pitch tracks just off the plate those last 2.
3-0. Ishmael Rogers starts to loosen up behind Johnson. Another walk that'll force in the second run of the inning, and the Yankees have taken a 3-2 lead. Didn't see this coming.
Nope. Had the 1-2-3 inning in the 4th inning by striking out Nix to finish up, and he looked like he was getting himself into a groove. Fell behind Stewart, gave up a hit. Had a couple of other outs, sandwiched around a couple of other hits, and then 2 walks.
Ichiro up the middle, backhanded by Estorz, flips to Kawasaki. The inning is over. But a pair of bases loaded walks has given the Yankees a 3-2 lead. Middle of the 5th. And get them right back in this ball game. They have fallen behind 3-2. Pair of bases loaded walks in the 5th.
They got the right guy at the plate to get him fired up again.
Kawasaki in the leadoff spot. First time in his big league career he's at first in the lineup. Shows bunt. I tell you what, he has an idea what his job is, and that's to get on base.
Make him throw a lot of pitches, maybe get into that bullpen. The long relief by the Yankees. I asked him today, I said, you know, your hero is Ichiro Suzuki. Do you feel any pressure playing in front of him, wanting to do something? He said, no, I'm just doing something I have pleasure doing, playing baseball. Now, if you put me down on the field and have to paint a picture in front of all these people, then I'd have a problem.
Nunez quickly over to Seke, makes a nice play. First out of the inning. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Tommy Malone was undefeated going into that game. And how about Roberto Hernandez? 3 1/3 of no-hit ball for Tampa Bay.
Hitting shoes on for the Rays yesterday against Oakland.
Boy, Oakland is really pitching well. Melky Cabrera loves facing the Yankees. He has his second hit of the afternoon.
Von Nova might want to have to do some comebackers in between starts. Jose Bautista got a base hit that seemed to go right through him, and here's another one. Sinking fastball down and away, and Nova feels like, I got to have that ball.
He was just late. He was in pretty good position to field it, and then when he made a grab for it, it was past to Melky Cabrera's now 5 for 8 against Ivan Nova. Jose Bautista. He's thrown in that pitch the last 2 at bats on the first pitch. That slow breaking ball for a strike.
And you know, Jose is putting that into the memory banks right there. James Shields kept doing that to him, and then he homered off of it. Same type of pitch.
He checked on that breaking ball. That home run off Shields came last Saturday in Kansas City. He was timing that breaking ball, but it was a wide one.
All it takes is one mistake. That'll be the time for that mistake right here.
Down in the dirt, Cabrera couldn't advance. Good start. Big day at the plate, and does a good job on this breaking ball. That's a tough pitch, that one that's so far to your right. You have to really get out and get your chest protector in front of it.
Plus that spin of that curveball, you don't know which way it's going to bounce once it hits the dirt. It's a big pitch right here, 2-2.
They popped that up. Stewart back near the screen, and it's beyond his reach over the screen, out of play. That was another breaking ball. It was a pretty hittable pitch. Nova's flirting with danger.
Yeah. You try and throw that ball inside like that. We've seen Jose crush that pitch.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Jays down by a run. There goes Cabrera upstairs. Stewart's throw in time, and Cano slapped a quick tag on Cabrera. Looked like he beat it into the base, like he slid that leg underneath the tag, but Mark Wagner at second brings him out quickly.
Yeah, it's the tag, and they've been throwing curveball, and they went with a high fastball that time, and that was tough on Melky. Stewart ends up with the catchers caught stealing, and then another walk. But they picked on a good pitch and went on a fastball. And then wouldn't you know it, he ends up walking him.
Well, Cabrera was tagged out on a very quick tag by Cano. Edwin Encarnacion bobblehead day. Edwin has driven in a run on a fielder's choice. Brett Cecil, the left-hander, starting to loosen up. Encarnacion just missed a home run his last time up. Vernon Wells made a terrific catch jumping up in left field and turned it into a double play. Blue Jays had Nova on the ropes early. They stranded 4 base runners in the first 3 innings and managed just 2 runs.
They've had that leadoff guy on plenty of times this afternoon, and he's made just enough pitches to get out of it. Just enough. Trying to get his 5 innings in so he will qualify for the W. 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, and 6 hits. So they had plenty of base runners.
This is popped up. Long run for Suzuki, and Overbank can't make the play. Suzuki was deep in right, and Overbank got into foul ground. The ball was slicing away from him. He really had an awkward play as he tried to get twisted around, never could get turned around.
Really, the only guy who had a shot at it was Overbay. And think about where he was coming. He's holding the runner on at first base. He's got to go out into foul territory. Turned around. Suzuki wasn't going to get it. Cano had no chance because he was playing right up the middle with the right-handed hitter Encarnacion. The only guy who was Overbay, and he just couldn't come up with it.
Boy, a great opportunity for Encarnacion. 1-2, 2 outs. That play by Overbay was a non-play. He wasn't charged with an error, as that was a long run and a tough play. But it gives Encarnacion life.
Yeah, it gives him another chance. See if he hangs him a curveball here. Look at they've stayed away from his power.
This is another pop-up, and Overbay has a better angle on it, but it's into the seats.
He's got great range for a first baseman, doesn't he?
Well, and he really positions himself well. He knows tendencies of hitters. He plays off the line farther than any first baseman without a runner on. He has really got a lot of range.
He's at first. He's bouncing off towards the middle of the diamond, and the foul ball. He's got to go chase that.
Mark Teixeira traveling with the team, trying to come back from a wrist injury. He's pretty good first baseman too.
He's not too shabby.
Encarnacion is a full count. Bautista at first will run on the pitch. 2 outs. Nova's got to throw him a breaking ball, doesn't he?
Yeah, I would think.
And Edwin's got to know that. Throw him a fastball, and Edwin strikes out. Might have been ball 4, but Edwin goes after it, and the Blue Jays are done in the 5th. We're headed to the top of the 6th, and here comes the Home Hardware Cleanup Crew. Brought to you by Natura. Home Hardware's exclusive line of safe, environmentally friendly cleaning products. Tyson Nix with the leadoff single, and boy, that's been a theme here all afternoon. Leadoff men have been on base just about every half inning.
Yeah, all but one for the Yankees. And that was in the 4th inning. Right back through the middle. Nix catches a pitch out in front of the plate and starts the 6th with a single.
Chris Stewart has homered and singled. He scored a pair, driven in a run. And they want to see if he's going to show bunt. Wouldn't surprise me one bit with Gardner and Cano, the next 2 hitters.
Yep, wouldn't surprise me at all. He's had a couple of hits here. Joe Girardi going to try and stay out of that double play. He's gotten a home run. He's gotten a single from Chris Stewart. Pretty good. Now let's see if he can move him up.
Not showing bunt. He takes a strike. The Yankees are 9-0 when their opponents score 4 or less. And that's where the Blue Jays are right now. Brett Cecil should be ready down in that pen.
And a couple of lefties after Stewart. So this might be Josh Johnson's last batter of the afternoon.
The ball gets away from Aaron Sebia, and Nix will move up. That takes the Yankees out of a double play situation.
Another breaking ball. Doesn't keep it in front of him, and that's a big play right there. 90 feet from first to second, number 9 hitter up, John Gibbons, saying what else can go wrong with this ball club defensively.
Well, and a couple of bases loaded walks. That's how the Yankees took the lead. Ball on the strike.
Now he's going to bunt.
And it's a good one. Rory goes to first, and after the wild pitch, they already say, you know what, we're going to take advantage of that wild pitch. And now they push the runner to third, and here comes John Gibbons. He's got Cecil ready, and there's the call for the lefty. Brett Gardner is the scheduled batter. Cano behind him. 2 lefty hitters for New York. So Gibbons goes to the pen. Josh Johnson gave up the leadoff single to Nix, and he'll hand things off reluctantly to John Gibbons. And look to Brett Cecil to get him out of this jam in the 6th. Yankees up 3-2. Presented by Baseball Canada and Little League Canada. St. John's, Newfoundland is the site July 15th, 16th, and 17th at Airport Heights Field. The instructors include Roberto Alomar, Lloyd Mosby, Homer Bush, Devon White, and Dwayne Ward. Visit BlueJays.com/Baseball Academy for more information. Blue Jays are proud supporters of amateur baseball across Canada. Josh Johnson is out of the game. He goes 5 1/3 and turns things over to Brett Cecil. Cecil gets ahead of Brett Gardner.
Brett pitched in this season series opening game against the Yankees. 8 games total this year. Very good ERA, just over 2. Lefties, I think that's why he is in this game. 111. He showed a good fastball and a good slider.
And he jumps ahead of Gardner quickly, 0-2.
One of the batters that he faced, in fact, the first batter he faced the other night was Brett Gardner. Gardner tripled against Brett Cecil into the gap.
Robinson Cano drove him home with a ground ball to second, and then Wells in the next inning with a home run off Cecil. 0-2. That's the same approach he took against Mike Moustakas in Kansas City, where he got him behind and just came right after him, struck him out on 4 pitches.
Yeah, figuring that he might be looking for a breaking ball. And he went right after him. This is where your scouting report becomes very important. You talk about it before the series starts. If we get in this situation, what's my go-to pitch?
Another fastball. It was a good spot. Gardner did a good job of spoiling a pretty good pitch.
Gardner is a little bit like Suzuki, where he's starting to leak over towards first base. Get that little bit of a running start. He stays on the ball, but an off-speed pitch down and away, I think, could get him to chase that.
He left it inside. Bautista gets it on the line. Nix tags. Here's the throw to the plate. Not in time. Brett Gardner has worn out the Blue Jays. Nix with the leadoff single comes around to score an insurance run for New York here in the 6th. It pushes their lead to 4-2.
And look how big the wild pitch is. Something as harmless as a wild pitch. They had the idea. They wanted to go down and away. They just can't execute it. And Brett Gardner's all over that one. Nix recognizes the ball's in the air. Bautista gets a good running start, but he just can't come up with an accurate throw to get Jason at the plate.
Yeah, if Nix hesitates at all going back to tag, I don't know if he can score on that.
Well, he did a good job where he didn't get too far away from the bag. They were not going to play contact, I think, with Jason Nix, not because of his running speed, I think because of the guy on deck. If they happen to hit one right at the infielders, why would you run into an out when you're at third base with Robinson Cano coming up?
2 outs for Cano. Hits it on the ground. Historias to Encarnacion. Cano's retired, but the Yankees add a run. Shot fly by Brett Gardner. They lead 4-2. With Jeff Blair and Dirk Hayhurst. Listen on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and watch on Sportsnet 1. Jeff Blair in the house. Here he's working on his column for a paper and getting ready for Baseball Central tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Keep you up to speed on everything that's going on around the baseball world. He and Dirk Hayhurst, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Well, Blue Jays are going to have to play catch up once again. They took the early lead this afternoon, but the Yankees have stormed back. Not in typical Yankee fashion. They have a home run, but they took the lead with 2 bases loaded walks. And Nova now comfortable with the lead.
He has been on the ropes all afternoon. And here he sits with the lead. Blue Jays have left 5 runners on. They've had 6 hits. And he's only given up 2 runs.
All of a sudden, he's found that sinker.
Yeah, isn't that amazing when you get the lead?
You relax a little bit, your hand comes through, and the ball jumps out of your head with late movement.
A little bit more confidence.
Tell you what, when you pitch for the Yankees, you just got to hang around. If you can hold your own, the Yankees have averaged 5.3 runs per game. The Blue Jays just 3.6.
I think he's going to be on a short leash, though. Now that they've got that add-on run, he's approaching 100 pitches. I don't think that's the problem. I think Joe Girardi doesn't want that momentum to go back over to the third base dugout.
And we'll start things off with a walk. Josh Johnson got off to a good start. He pitched around trouble in the first couple of innings, and Stewart connected for a leadoff home run. He goes 5 1/3. Overall, he gives up 8 hits. The 4 runs are all earned, charged to Johnson. 3 walks and 4 strikeouts. Lynn's aboard. Aaron Sevia asks for time, and Tim Timmons obliges. Big crowd on hand at Rogers Center, well over 40,000. I think the Blue Jays have really been plagued by the mindset of one swing of the bat, we'll get back in it. And I think that's led to a lot of strikeouts. It's led to some home runs, but you can't do everything with a home run.
I think that's why good approaches at the plate. See a few pitches. Don't swing at pitches out of the strike zone. Have professional at-bats and then start stringing them together, and the big hits will come. That's the one thing that they've missed is the big hit, and it all goes back to your approach at the plate.
Off the plate outside, it's 1-2. Yeah, you get your big hits when you hit strikes. When you're trying to hit everything, you have a tendency to first fall behind in the count, and second chase borderline pitches. Mike Winters down at first base, indicating Aaron Sevia had checked his swing. So it's 2-2. Nova is right at 100 pitches and has been able to pitch into the 6th despite a slow start. Aaron Sevia drives it deep to right center. Gardner on the run. It's over his head off the wall. Lind is headed for third. Aaron Sevia is headed for second, and he's in there with a slide. Aaron Sevia getting back to his strengths, going to the opposite field, bangs one off the wall in right center. His 5th double of the season, and the Jays are threatening against Nova in the 6th.
And that'll be it for Nova, I'm sure. 2 strikes. He's been flirting with danger all afternoon long. We showed you the pitches, 100 pitches and about 50-50 strikes. Doesn't come up with one here as he bangs it off the wall. Double, leadoff walk, double now, knocks him out of the ball game, and the Blue Jays have a chance to get back into this one.
Yankees only left-hander in their pen. Boone Logan will come into the ball game. Kobe Erasmus will bat with 2 on. have a 12-4 record at the start of play this afternoon. They had a 2-game lead in the AL East. Kansas City's trying to snap that 7-game win streak. Now the Blue Jays are trying to tie it up. They've got runners at second and third with nobody out. Boone Logan, the tough left-hander, making his 8th appearance of the season.
You mentioned that they only have the one lefty down in the bullpen. This is it right here. Joe Girardi decides to use him in the 6th inning. You usually see Logan in the 7th, maybe even the 8th inning in tight situations like this. It feels like this is the time to do it right here.
Colby Rasmus makes a breaking ball for a strike.
Fastball, slider. That's what you'll get from Boone Logan. And he'll use a lot of strikeouts that way versus the lefties. Saw the numbers. 80 appearances last year for Joe Girardi, so he likes to use Logan a lot.
Rasmus got hit by a pitch his last time up. He doubled and scored in the 2nd.
Fastball, they're going to try and jam him so he doesn't drive the ball to the outfield. It backs him off the plate.
Colby's just 2 for 14 against lefties this year, but both of his hits have been doubles. And double would be sweet right here. There's a good look at the breaking ball. It's 2-1. Rasmus is 0 for 6 in his career against Boone Logan.
That's what you're going to get. He might show you that fastball inside, but he's going to go right after you with that slider. Lefties against Logan this year, they've had their success. 4 hits and 13 at bats. But in his career, he's been tough against them.
Rasmus, a broken bat. Whooper, that's got him. Score Linden right behind him. Aaron Sebe gets stopped at third. Rasmus delivers the RBI single, and it's a 1-run game.
There you go. That's how you stay on a breaking ball. You figure he's going to come with it. With 2 strikes, looking for the strikeout, and you have to have plate coverage, and that's what Colby does right there, fighting that ball off. Watch where this pitch is, down and away, and he stays right with it. And he breaks his bat. That's okay. And he's got himself an RBI with that broken bat. Keeps the inning going, and a big hit for Rasmus.
His first hit against Boone Logan drives in a run and knocks Logan out of the game. David Phelps, the right-hander, will come in to face Brett Laurie when we come back. Corners and nobody out. He's singled and grounded into a double play, and right behind the screen in the first row, Laurie's parents, Russ and Cheryl, in town from Langley, BC.
Let's give him something to cheer about right here. He'll face a new pitcher, David Phelps, into the game for the 5th time. He's one of the long men that Joe Girardi has out there. He can swing between starting or relieving, and right now he's in the pen. Fastball, he'll sink it. A little bit of a slider, changeup, curveball. He's got all 4 of those pitches. He was a starter in the minor leagues. He was pitched mainly out of the bullpen in New York.
Brett Laurie takes the first pitch downstairs.
He's got a nice smooth delivery. Really likes to work the right-handers away with his fastball and his slider.
Phelps lost to the Arizona Diamondbacks in extra innings on Thursday, working a couple of innings and gave up the lead late in the ball game.
Very smooth delivery. Short arm action, making it tough for righties to pick up the ball. I think you have to look away early in the count against Phelps.
Just inside off the plate. Laurie got out of the way of it.
That's a purpose pitch right there. Just to back him off the plate, put inside in his mind. Turns his fastball over to seamer. Moves his feet. Probably go away again.
Laurie hits it. That's a fair ball. Aaron Civale will come in to score. Rasmus making a turn. He's being waved home. Here's the throw from Wells. It's offline, and the Jays have taken the lead.
Well, we wanted to get them up out of their seats and give them something to cheer about. And that hit by Brett Laurie does the trick. Timing wasn't there at the beginning of the season. It's slowly coming around. He hits a pitch on the inner half, and watch this one right down the line. Laz Diaz with his eyes right on it, and that's right over the bag. That's extra bases. And Colby Rasmus, how about Rasmus putting it into another gear to score all the way from first base, right over the bag, and Brett Laurie knows that's 2. He makes it easily and then is fired up.
Meiser Estura squared to bunt and takes a strike. 5-4 Jays. Laurie's 2nd and 3rd RBI of the season.
Still nobody out. Another big run out there at second base. Blue Jays have to play some situational baseball right here.
Estura squares to bunt and bunts it foul.
That'll probably take it off now, being 0-2.
Now Phelps in relief for Boone Logan. Logan faced one batter. Colby Rasmus had a broken bat single. Picked up an RBI. And Phelps came on to face Laurie, and Laurie hit a 2-run double.
Yankees still think that Estura is going to bunt here.
Ball is bounced in the dirt.
The corners were in. Lyle Overbay was charging at first base.
Yeah, that would surprise me. Just go ahead and let him hit it. He can pull it on the right side. Right-handed pitcher. Joe Girardi took a shot with Boone Logan. Colby Rasmus was 0 for 6 against Logan, and Rasmus messed up the strategy. This whole inning started with Adam Lind walking. The 3rd walk of the afternoon for Lind. He got on base to start the inning. 7 straight plate appearances now. Lind has reached base. He walked in his previous at bat before this game, and he's just had the ability to get on base lately. A couple hits, 4 walks, and a fielder's choice. 7 straight plate appearances, and he started the rally.
Yeah, just what the Blue Jays needed right there.
Blue Jays have now out-hit the Yankees 9-8. Driven into center. That won't do the job. Gardner gets it. Laurie has to hold his ground at second. So the fan favorite will step in the box. Munenori Kawasaki.
Kawasaki's are better than Suzuki's. Not bad. Tell you what, we'll send him in crazy if he gets a base hit right here.
1 out. Laurie at second base. Kawasaki takes his strike. Munenori singled and scored in the first. Had a sac fly to drive in a run in the second and grounded out in the fifth. He has good at bats.
I think that's what they were looking for. A guy who sees some of the bats, or sees some pitches per at bat, put the bat on the ball. 375 on base percentage, and he's only struck out 1 time.
Now he's got to shorten up and battle. Off the plate inside. Two balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Brett Laurie at second. Blue Jays have scored 3 here in the bottom of the 6th. Kawasaki strikes out. Chris Stewart holds on to the foul tip.
Comes up empty here. Fastball that slides back over the middle of the plate. You can tell he's upset with himself that he should have hit that one. Phelps has that sneaky fastball.
Melky Cabrera, 2 hits again this afternoon. He had 2 yesterday afternoon and had a hit on Friday. Big run at second. Blue Jays trying to salvage this final game of the 3-game series. New York won the first 2 games. 9-4 on Friday night, 5-3 yesterday afternoon. Cabrera pulls it to the right side. That's a base hit. Here comes Laurie around third. The throw from Ichiro, not in time.
He's an excitable guy. He gets fired up. Melky Cabrera comes up with a 2-out base hit. Another thing that had been missing from the Blue Jays offense. And with 2 outs, Brett Laurie can just run on anything. He's going to be aggressive at the plate. He knows he's going to be sent here with 2 outs. And watch when he dives across the plate. Bautista tells him to get down. He says, give me 5. And he says, We've seen that before. Watch Bautista saying down. He comes across, and I think Jose was thinking, this guy might bite into me right here. That's a huge hit by Cabrera.
Big hit by Cabrera, and he had a big hit in yesterday's game. Melky Cabrera tied it up in the 8th yesterday with a 2-run single to center with 2 outs. Jose Bautista, the 8th man to bat this inning. All of a sudden, we're starting to see some signs of these guys pass. Melky Cabrera, terrific hitter, good clutch hitter. 3-hit day this afternoon.
Jose will put numbers up there. Encarnacion the same way.
Bouncing ball. Nunez flips to Cano. That ends the inning, but the Blue Jays put up a 4 spot. Brett Laurie played in just 7 games in spring training before leaving for the World Baseball Classic. He drives in a pair with his first double of the season, right on the line, just past third. Blue Jays have taken the lead. In the fourth inning, Bautista said, "Easy on the high five, big boy."
Remember when he'd get the pad out there when Brett would give him high fives so he wouldn't hurt his hand?
Laurie drove in two and scored the 6th run in a 4-run Blue Jays 6th inning. Brett Cecil, middle of the order, Wells, Hafner, and Overbay. Boy, this is a big part of the ball game. 7th inning, middle of the order.
Matched up. You've got Wells, the righty, and then a couple of left-handers. That's why Brett Cecil's still in the game.
Past Kawasaki in the left. Vernon Wells with the leadoff single. His second hit of the afternoon. Vernon Wells now 7 for 14 in the series. A couple of home runs and a pretty good effort in left defensively as well.
Wearing it out at the plate, and then this play earlier today picked up his second outfield assist as they were able to turn it into a double play. And a tip of the cap to everybody out there. He has worn out the lefties in this series.
Travis Hafner takes one downstairs. Hafner popped up for the second out in the 5th inning with the bases loaded. Popped up to the catcher, but then Bob Overbay walked and Nunez walked. Forced in a pair of runs, and it gave the Yankees a 3-2 lead. And now Cecil is balked, and Vernon Wells will go to second.
Yeah, that's a good call. I was hoping they didn't catch that. But that home plate umpire, Tim Timmons, was all over that. He started like he was going to go to the stretch and then stop. Watch him. It's very subtle. Right there. And that was it right there. J. Pierre Sebia tried to call timeout before Timmons saw it, but he was all over it.
Well, what happens is sometimes a pitcher will see the signals from the catcher and thinks he's finished, and then he'll begin to start into it, and he flashes one more sign, and that causes the pitcher to balk. So the possibility of a double play is removed, as Wells is now at second. Nobody out. Gets that breaking ball over for a strike, but it's in a tough spot. It's high and really dangerous to a power hitter like Hafner.
His arm speed's been great this year. A good fastball and a good breaking ball. Right now, his mindset should be, I've got the next 2 hitters. A couple of lefties are scheduled. Give me everything you got right here.
Cecil has owned this matchup. Travis Hafner's 0 for 10 against Brett Cecil. So he needs to take advantage of it. Another lefty on deck is Lyle Overbay.
With the Euclid injury, I don't think we'll see him as a pinch hitter. So Cecil's got Hafner and he's got Overbay.
Euclid left yesterday's game in the bottom of the 6th with back problems.
That's breaking ball. His slider slash curveball has been much better this year. He's thrown a couple of them already to Hafner. And there it is right there, the spiked curveball.
And he gets it. Hafner strikes out against Cecil. First out of the inning. Big strikeout because Wells doesn't have a chance to move over to third.
Now that ball comes off of that hand with great spinning action. It's a check swing by Hafner. Well, JP did a good job to go out there and tell Cecil what he wanted instead of having to flash the signs with that runner at second base.
Another lefty, Lyle Overbay. Overbay had the first of 2 bases loaded walks back in the 5th. Cecil gets ahead with a breaking ball. Cecil threw 37 pitches on Friday night, working an inning and 2/3. Vernon Wells hit a home run off Cecil in that outing. Come on and missed. 2 big strikeouts for Cecil, and he got the guys that he was supposed to get.
Yep. And Aaron Civale went out there, changed the signs, so no stealing signs at second base, and Cecil comes up with a couple of big strikeouts. Well, he did his job.
So John Gibbons saw the 2 lefties and felt Cecil could get him out. He gave up a leadoff base hit to Wells, committed a balk that moved him to second, but now he'll turn things over to Ishmael Rogers with 2 outs. Rogers to face Nunez when we come back. Turn on Revolution, Mondays on City. Brett Cesa with a couple of big strikeouts brings a smile to his face and to the pitching coach's face. Pete Walker pleased with the approach. Strikes out Hafner and Overbay. A couple of tough lefties.
Yeah, get the guys you're supposed to, and he leave it into the hands of Esmil Rogers now into a ball game for the 9th time this year. Pitched in yesterday's game, had an inning, gave up a leadoff hit to Overbay, and then stranded him out there with 3 ground balls. Used his fastball a lot better of late.
And he only threw 11 pitches, so he should have plenty in the tank. Nunez, the batter with 2 outs. Here's the first pitch strike. Blue Jays have a 6-4 lead. Scored 4 runs in the bottom of the 6th. Nunez a better breaking ball hitter or a fastball hitter?
Haven't seen a whole lot of Nunez, but I figure that he'd be a pretty good fastball hitter. Hasn't had the type of playing time.
Rasmus, long run to center. He's breaking it down short of the warning track, and Rogers does the job. Brett Cesa struck out the first 2 outs of the inning, and then Rogers comes out of the pen to preserve that 2-run lead. Good job by the pen. Been entertained to a good ball game. Blue Jays have a 6-4 lead. They scored 4 runs in the bottom of the 6th. Another big crowd, over 45,000 on hand, and each crowd with the Yankees in town has been over 40,000. And today, once again, Melky Cabrera delivered a clutch hit, and then Brett Laurie gave them the lead.
Yeah, 3 more knocks for Melky today, and a big one to knock in a big run for the Blue Jays. That's what the Blue Jays have been missing, that extra hit to keep the inning going. Brett Laurie, it's great to see him hit that ball down the left field line and then score on that hit by Melky Cabrera.
Brett Laurie with a couple of hits today, and there's a long drive to left. Edwin Encarnacion just missed another one. Wells robbed him of an extra base hit earlier, and this time he didn't square it up as well off David Phelps, but he's getting very close to going off.
Didn't have the height. Let's see if it beats him inside just a little bit. About the size of a postage stamp inside there. That ball's out of here.
Melky Cabrera asked him, did you hit that one square? He got it down toward the barrel a little bit. Now Lynn's got the Blue Jays. He had a big part of that rally in the 6th. He had leadoff walk and came around to score. We mentioned he has reached base his last 7 plate appearances. Reached on a fielder's choice, then a couple of singles, and now 4 straight walks.
Boy, the pitcher careful too. Adam Noble was very careful with them. 3 walks. He's also had a run scored.
He's seeing the ball very well too, laying off the borderline pitches. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you walk 3 times in a row, you're seeing the ball well. You're not chasing a lot of bad pitches, and the hits will follow.
And you know what the next thing is that comes: base hits.
Which is popped over near the left field line. Wells won't get there. It's into the seats. Bottom of the 7th inning. Turner Wells has had a productive return to Rogers Center, this time in a Yankee uniform. Of course, it's not his first trip back to Rogers. He played here with the Angels. Another walk for Lynn. That's 4 walks in the game.
Phelps has pretty good command with his stuff, and he just loses them. Now he's got to face Aaron Civale.
JP had a big hit in that 4-run inning. A 2-strike opposite field double. He is so much better when he goes to center field and right center. He's quick enough to handle the ball and pull it down the left field side. But when he's driving that ball to center and right center, he is really dangerous.
He was telling me the other day that he's got to trust his hands and that he can reach that inside pitch. And then when he looks for the ball away, if they happen to throw the ball in there, trust that I can get my hands to that ball.
Hard cut on that pitch, just a borderline strike.
You can't look for the ball in and hit the ball away. I mean, you've got to be able to cover both. And he has done that. When they've thrown the ball away, he's hit it hard the other way.
Right on the outside corner, down and away. David Phelps, the second reliever for New York this afternoon. And Civale drives it to center and deep. Brett Gardner looking up. Goodbye, home run. J.P. Aaron Civale at the dead center. Number 7.
Partner, you were all over that. When he is looking for the ball away, he's still quick enough that he can pull it if he has to. Now he's got plate coverage. You try and throw a fastball by him, and he was all over that. Watch where this pitch is, where he swings, head down. Good follow through. That's a power stroke, and that ball, just from the sound, you knew that was leaving the ballpark.
He's got easy power, boy, when he stays on that ball. He doesn't have to think about home runs. He has just tied Chris Davis of the Orioles for the American League lead with his 7th home run of the season.
Watch the reaction. Fastball middle of plate, and Phelps knows. Aaron Civale got him.
Only Justin Upton has more than 7 home runs in the majors. He's got 9 for the Braves. So Aaron Sebia and Chris Davis, who the Blue Jays will see tomorrow in Baltimore, are tied atop the American League with 7 home runs.
And he doesn't have to pull the ball to knock it out of the ballpark. We've seen it already here the first 3 weeks of the season. We've seen a couple of balls to right field for home runs, and that one right under our camera well in center field.
Rasmus swings over the top of that breaking ball. 2 down. Drive of the game brought to you by the 2013 Honda CR-V and IIHS Top Safety Pin. Honda is the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Multi-hit game for Brett Laurie. This is number 2 and a huge hit this afternoon, right over the bag and down the left field line. That's going to cash Aaron Sebia and Rasmus from first base. With a couple of RBIs, Brett Laurie second and third. And he was fired up.
I mentioned Laurie playing in just 7 games in spring training before joining Team Canada for the WBC. Laurie just 4 for 17 with the Blue Jays in spring training. He didn't play at all in the WBC because he injured himself before this series. Then he was on the shelf and has just rejoined the Blue Jays, so he hasn't had an awful lot of spring training.
He injured himself in an exhibition game, actually reaching for an errant throw from the outfield. He was diving all over the field, he was telling me, and then a throw came from the outfield corner, from left field corner. He was playing third base. It was offline. They had messed up the cutoff play, and when he reached for it, he really felt something in his back. And then he shut it down for the rest of the spring.
Right back to the pitcher. There's Cano behind second. Throws it right on the money, and Laurie's retired. But the Blue Jays get 2 more. JP Aaron Sebia, a 2-run home run to dead center. His 7th of the season. 8-4 Jays. Bottom third of the Yankee batting order bat here in the 8th inning. Ichiro Suzuki will lead things on. Two quick strikes from Rogers.
That's what he has done. For the last week or so, week 10 days, he has come in, he has pounded down in that strike zone, and there's the quick pitch.
Suzuki bunts it. Rogers goes to first. That's the first out of the inning. It didn't really catch Suzuki that flat-footed. He was able to bunt the ball, and not a bad bunt with 2 strikes, but Rogers gets on it quickly.
It's almost like he expected it. Look at that. He was telling me the other day that the umpire told him the batter must be set. And if his feet are planted in the batter's box, I think you can quick pitch him. He doesn't have to be set. He just has to be in the box, ready to hit. Suzuki didn't look like he was ready, but there's nothing wrong with that. That's the whole idea of the quick pitch.
But that's basically the way he gets ready, by spinning that bat back to his back shoulder.
Yeah, tugging on his sleeve.
It's been an effective weapon for Rogers.
Yeah.
Jason Nick singled and scored in the 6th inning. At the time when he scored, it gave the Yankees a 4-2 lead. But Blue Jays came right back. They scored 4 runs in the bottom half of the 6th. Well, they needed that. They needed a big run, a big inning where they score a bunch to give them a little cushion, and then Aaron Sevia's 2-run home run in the 7th added to their lead. The Jays have collected 11 hits this afternoon. That's just one off their season high. They've had 12 hits twice in a game this season. Here at home against Boston and in Detroit against the Tigers on April 10th. Hicks has another base hit. One out base hit for Jason Nix. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Edwin Encarnacion Bobblehead Day, and it has been a good day, and it has everybody shaken here at Rogers Center. And Edwin's had a good day, just missed it in a couple of home runs. Drove in the first Blue Jays run of the afternoon. Speaking of good days, how about Chris Stewart making his 5th start of the season for New York behind the plate? Has homered, singled, driven in a run, scored 2, and added a sacrifice bunt.
Both of those off of the fastball from the Blue Jays. He's gotten himself in that fastball count.
But you made a point in our conversation about Nunez. Generally, and obviously in general terms, if a guy doesn't play a lot, like a Stewart or Nunez when he was a role player, the one thing they can hit's a fastball. Is you can't have the timing that you get with multiple at-bats on a regular basis to hit the breaking ball. So you really focus on hitting the fastball.
And he's gotten himself into fastball counts. 2-0. He had the single to center field. There was a 3-2 fastball in that he homered earlier in the game. Here's another fastball count.
Yeah, it really makes a lot of sense for an extra guy just to go up there and, especially for a catcher, to try to do some damage. I mean, you don't expect catchers to steal bases. I don't care if he has a high on base percentage. I want him to knock in some runs.
Yeah, do something while you're in there.
From a backup catcher, the one thing you want more than anything is for him to call a good game and not cost you a game. Chris Stewart did a good job of that, backing up Russell Martin last year.
Throw out a runner when he's stealing. He's done that this afternoon. Stewart will contribute a little bit with the bat.
Caught Melky Cabrera in the 5th inning. 2-2 pitch to Stewart. Blue Jays will fly from here to Baltimore. We start a 3-game series Monday night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday afternoon. And then these two teams will meet up for 4 at Yankee Stadium. Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon. Jay Happ will start things for the Blue Jays. He'll be opposed by Chris Tillman in the opener.
How did he lay off of that pitch?
Make up your mind you're not going to hit it, so just don't swing at it.
Slider down and away. And he held up.
Yeah, he sure did. Full count, 1 out. Jason Nix at first. Hot shot. Laurie to second for 1. Back to first. What a double play. Things are starting to get right with the Blue Jays. Laurie's back at third, picking it and driving in big runs. Rogers with another good inning. Brett Laurie takes a hot shot off the bat of Chris Stewart, and then it's academic. 5-4-3 double play. Blue Jays have a 4-run lead. Now it's time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Blackberry Broadcast Studio. Rogers appreciative of that hot shot, boy. That could have been 2 for sure for Chris Stewart, but Brett Laurie snared it and turned it into a double play.
You don't know what could have happened right there. They turned the lineup over, and you've got probably a pitching change. You have to face Cano and Gardner, and that's another thing that had been missing. That great defense that turns outs into double plays.
Big crowd on hand, 45,575, and the Blue Jays have responded accordingly. David Phelps trying to close it out. Phelps came in relief of Boone Logan. Logan faced one batter in the 6th. That was Colby Rasmus, and Rasmus had a base hit and an RBI. So then Phelps comes in and gives up the double.
That's the difference in the game right there, that at bat. Rasmus's run is the run that put the Blue Jays ahead.
Colby Rasmus with a double and a single today. Rasmus averaged right at 250. So despite a fair share of strikeouts, he's getting some extra base hits and driving in some runs.
He's been on three times this afternoon. He scored a couple of runs.
Nicer is Torres, bounces it to Oberbe, who steps on the bat. 1 down in the 8th. Munenori Kawasaki was inserted into the leadoff spot this afternoon, and he responded right away. He had a swinging bunt base hit and scored a run in the 1st. Had a sac fly in the 2nd. For the day, he is 1 for 3. John Gibbons was looking for a spark at the top of the order, and sure enough, he gets on in his first at bat and scores the first run of the ball game.
Spark, energy, whatever you want to call it. I asked him, I said, why Kawasaki? He says, hey, he's got good at bats. And we need some energy at the top of that lineup. Just try and grind something out, get on base. First inning, it showed. He had the infield hit, then Cabrera had the hit.
Kawasaki is called out on 3 pitches, and they asked the umpire, Jim Timmons, about that last one, but there was a lot of movement on that inside fastball. Runs back over the corner.
Comeback fastball from Phelps. Good job by Stewart to frame that one up for him.
2 down in the 8th. Melky Cabrera's had a good series against his former teammates. He is 3 for 4 this afternoon. He was 2 for 5 yesterday and 1 for 4 on Friday. Cabrera's average at 280.
26 points added to that batting average with his 3-hit day.
It doesn't take much early in the season to make that batting average move dramatically, up or down.
Yeah. So stay hot. His approach is so solid at the plate. Not a lot of extra movement.
Down and in, it's 2-2. Full count. Last May, Melky Cabrera, hitting for the Giants, hit .429 in the month of May and set a franchise record with 51 hits in May.
Wow.
You just hope that's a sign of things to come.
Yeah. May right around the corner. You get him on base and you start getting 3-4 starting to lift the ball. It's going to mean a lot of runs for Toronto.
But Cabrera is on for a 4th time this afternoon. Jose Bautista has singled, struck out, walked, and hit into a fielder's choice. It's a big momentum changing game for the Blue Jays. As after this game, we mentioned they'll head out to Baltimore for a 3-game series. And I tell you what, it's not over yet, obviously, but you win this ball game, and it's a much better ride to Baltimore.
Yeah, you got that right. You feel good. They had the lead, they lost it, and then they showed what their makeup is. They come back and take the lead. And you're right. Anytime you head out on the road, and we talked about the American League East over the next month, it's going to be treacherous. You get some kind of momentum to head out on the road.
Blue Jays had lost the first 2 games of this series. Everybody else in the division had a winning streak of at least 2 games or more. And it's going to be like that all summer long, it appears. Toronto started up play today in last place, 7-11. Boston atop the East at 12-4. Bautista high and deep to left. Vernon Wells over. He's got plenty of room, and Bautista's retired. Will go to the 9th. The Blue Jays have a 4-run cushion. The veteran Darren Oliver will come on to try to close it out. This is the inning they've all been waiting for here at Rogers Center, the 9th with the lead. Darren Oliver into the ball game, his 9th appearance of the season.
Righties 143. The lefty, that's the surprise right there. They have hit Ollie so far 8 for 14 against Darren Oliver this year as he tries to get it together. Pitched the first game in this series against New York. Gave up just a hit to Suzuki.
Brett Cecil, Ishmael Rogers now, Darren Oliver out of the bullpen. Oliver does what he's supposed to and gets ahead of Brett Cecil.
Here it is. Here it is, Brett Gardner. See if you can get a hit right here. I've got a 4-run lead. I'm not going to walk you. I'm going to challenge you. Gardner's job is to see some pitches and try and get something started.
That's a little chopper as Sturz is going to have to hurry. He does in time to get Gardner. Good play by Estorres as he unloaded in a hurry. Gardner's got great speed.
Yeah, he's going to have to shorten up also. And with 2 strikes, you can see him right at the back of the infield right there. Good, quick hands to finish that one off. He's looked good at second base, I think. Played some third base earlier this year and made a couple of errors over there, but at second base, very sure-handed.
Robinson Cano, relatively quiet today against the Jays, just 1 hit.
Relatively quiet. A strikeout and a ground out.
Blue Jays will go to New York. 4-game series that begins on Thursday night. These 2 teams will match up right next week again. The 2 teams are going to play a lot of games before May 19th. They'll play 10 games. And before the season started, everybody felt that was a real advantage because Joe Girardi didn't have all his troops.
Yeah. That hasn't worked out, has it? And I like what Alex Anthopoulos said when they were talking about winning the division. And he says, hey, the Yankees are still the Yankees. And I agree with that.
Robinson Cano. Melky Cabrera, by the time he flags it down, Cano is going to end up at second base with a double. Cabrera tried to cut it off and then realized it was going to skip off the turf, and he's able to snag it, but by the time he gets it back to the infield, Cano has his second hit. It's
right with the pitch, down and away, hits it hard. That's off the turf right there as he stretches for it, trying to cut that ball off. If it gets by him, it's probably an extra base for Cano. That run doesn't mean anything.
It is curious that Oliver has had problems with lefties.
Yeah. That's the 9th hit that he's given up this year to a lefty.
Vernon Wells. Blue Jays will be happy to see him leave. 2 more hits this afternoon. 7 for 14 in the series. And he made a fine defensive play up against the wall and left and turned it into a double play. Steven Oliver can't get signals straight. Oliver has a pitch on his mind, and Aaron Sebia never got to it.
How about the one to get him out with? Yeah. Right here, whatever it is.
Top of the 9th inning. Blue Jays split 4 with the White Sox. And now I'd love to win this game to salvage one of the three against New York. Off-speed pitch. Wells is out in front.
You know, that looks so tempting for a right-handed hitter. That curveball, you see it out of his hand, but it's got great depth to it. It's got a lot of movement for it. You think they're going to hit it 9 miles. You end up swinging right over the top of it.
Well, and he's so patient with it that he doesn't try to overthrow it, and that's where he gets the big break. 1-2. Comes right back with it, and all Wells can do is foul it off.
You can tell that Aaron Oliver's been around the block before. He doesn't get too excited. Like you said, don't try to overthrow any pitches. Where you see young guys come up here, I'm going to get Wells right here. I'm going to really snap one off. They end up bouncing it in the dirt.
Yeah, when you hear veteran pitchers talk about it, they said, I'm going to use the hitter's adrenaline, not mine. Inside, it's 2-2.
You know what that cheer was for, don't you? Those kids cheering for pizza. That's 6 strikeouts. They want one more, they get free pizza.
That's what they want.
If the Blue Jays strike out 7 batters, those kids want some pizza.
It's a lot of pizza today. 45,575 on hand. And a great weekend series in that regard. Wells bounces it to third. Laurie chases Cano back. 2 down.
That's how you get that hitter just to bounce right into that. That's a comfortable ground out right there. He's played some good third base.
Well, he made some spectacular plays in this series, diving to take hits away and then taking a hot shot off the bat of Chris Stewart, turning it into a double play. That came in the 8th inning.
We started this homestand doing the 3-man booth with Jack Morrison. He'd never seen Brett play third base. And we said, you're going to be in for a treat. You're going to, first thing you notice is the athleticism and the range that he'll have there as it's going to shift across the field now. And after the first night, Jack was like, hey guys, you're right. This guy's got some athleticism.
So now Laurie moves into the shift with Travis Hafner at the plate. Cano will waltz over to third, obviously, with no defender there. I guess you could call that's the ultimate defensive indifference.
Nobody's defending anything.
Ball and a strike to Travis Hafner. And he bunts. Oliver calmly picks it up, and that's the game. And Oliver closes out the 9th inning. Big day for the Blue Jay bats. They score 8 runs on 11 hits and salvage the final game of the 3-game series against New York.
Well, that's a good win because they were